If we can get everyone taking their seats, and we will begin in a moment or two with our quorum call.
Mert has something to say.
All right, we are going to begin. I'm going to turn it over to our clerk, today's clerk, to go over the quorum, and then we'll continue with the business.
Good morning, everyone. We're going to get started with the quorum count. We will be going in alphabetical order. If folks could grab their seats, that would be great. All right. Katie Aldred.
Present.
David Allard.
Here.
Melanie Allard.
Present.
Jessica Hebert. Rob Anderson? All right, thank you.
Here, yeah.
Kyle Balco-Gladu.
Present.
Thank you. Danielle Bergevin.
Present.
Thank you. Caitlin Bird.
Present.
Joy Bremer.
Pardon me.
Bremner, my apologies.
Present.
Zev Brewer.
Present.
Ron Karen.
Present.
Carmen Carrier.
Present.
Bernadette Chamboyer. Bernadette?
Here.
Alana Copland.
Present.
Nicole Corson.
Present.
Jeff Crozier.
Here in body, but my coffee is still kicking in.
Louis DeJager.
Present.
Betty Deck.
Present.
Cheryl Dobman.
Tanche.
Mark DeBoard.
Present.
Deborah Fisher.
Present.
Paulette Flamond.
Present.
Lee Frazier.
Present.
Rainey Gervais.
Present.
Thank you. Dean Gladue.
Present.
Feb Goulet.
Here.
Tony Goulet.
Morning.
June Graham.
Present.
Patrick Harriet,
Present.
Susan Hooper,
Present.
thank you. Brenda House,
Here.
Zelda Hunt,
Here.
Travis Jobin,
Present.
Jamie Keith, here. Alan Lavale,
Here.
Rick Lewis,
Present.
Tyler Massey,
Present.
Betty Ann McDonald,
Present.
Walter Minot,
Here.
Vanessa Mueller,
Here. Good morning.
morning. Brianna Pelletier,
Present.
Chris Semple,
Present.
Mert Servatius, Lisa Shepard,
Uta.
Natasha Smith,
Present.
Tom Spence,
Here.
Joyce Sundin,
Present.
Marlene Swears,
Present.
Heather Weaver,
Here.
and Anthony Wingham.
Here.
Thank you. Quorum is established with 48 members present.
Thank you very much. Before we get to the remaining portion of our agenda, I'm just going to invite our chairperson, Dieger, just a couple words in the morning here.
Tansei, bon matin and good morning, everyone. As we gather this first morning in June, let's celebrate the beginning of Pride Month. On behalf of our 2S LGBTQIA+ Council, I want to take a moment to honor the incredible resilience, strength, and diversity of Two-Spirit, Métis, and Indigenous people right across our nation and the homeland. Pride Month is a time to celebrate our identities, our history, and our unyielding spirit to live authentically and proudly. Our journey is rooted in a history of struggle and perseverance. It was a time when Stonewall ignited the flames of LGBTQ+ activism, a movement born from resilience to oppression. Indigenous communities, including Two-Spirit people, have their own stories of resilience. Stories that have been passed down through generations of honoring identities that were often suppressed but never erased. Our ancestors endured the horrors of the AIDS pandemic, standing firm in solidarity, compassion, and hope, demonstrating that love and dignity are worth fighting for. We also remember the painful chapters where many members of our community were purged from the military and societal structures, an unjust chapter that tried to silence us. But through it all, we persevered, and our voices grew louder, our community stronger. Today, we are witnessing a shift, a culture of inclusion, kindness, and understanding, especially within Indigenous communities and especially within the Métis Nation of BC. We still face many challenges, but we know that we are not alone. We are building a world where everyone, regardless of gender, sexuality, or intergenerational or Indigenous identity, can live full, authentic lives without fear or apology. A world where our existence is not a question to be answered, but a reality to be celebrated. We stand here not just for ourselves, but for those who came before us, our ancestors, trailblazers, and allies, who fought relentlessly for recognition and equality. As we continue to march forward, our focus is simple. We want to live freely, openly, and fully as citizens, proud of who we are, without explanation or apology. So this Pride Month, let us honor that legacy. Let us celebrate our diversity, our history, and our collective strength. And let us recommit ourselves to a future where everyone is welcomed, valued, and loved for who they truly are. Chimikwich and happy Pride Month, everyone.
Thank you, Chairperson Dieger. Our next item is Resolution 8. This was to be moved or submitted by Cowichan Valley Métis Association. I'm going to invite President Richard Lewis to start us.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Richard Lewis, Cowichan Valley Métis. On behalf of Cowichan Valley, we'd like to withdraw Resolution 8 at this time. And with the will of the Assembly here, we would like to ask if we could allocate the time to have someone from NNBC to explain the reasons for that NNBC does not endorse the Métis National Council's 260-page independent report on Métis Nation Ontario's review of communities in Ontario, and the panel of experts to which NNBC provided one expert to participate on NNBC's behalf. And the finding conclusions of that panel of experts was that the 7 communities were indeed historical communities in Ontario. And we also recognize that some communities aren't aware of this report and the findings. So yes, with the will of the Assembly here, we're asking that we can allocate that time. Thank you.
Thank you, President Lewis. So, excuse me. Given that Resolution 8 is not before the Assembly, certainly it was within, as the community moving it, within your right to withdraw it. And so what I hear is there's a motion to allocate that time for a period of discussion and to maybe get some of that information and have that discussion. I'm going to look for a seconder for that discussion, and I know.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Before we get it to, I know there'll be another motion that'll be requested. We can perhaps look for unanimous consent. Is there any objection to allocating a period of time to have this discussion? Great. Not seeing any objection. We'll allocate, and we'll be a bit flexible with the time. Maybe around 45 minutes, just given the amount of time that we have. But we'll see how the discussion is going. So I appreciate that. And before we get to the next thing, then I will turn to President Keith for another motion that she wishes to bring.
I'd like to motion to go, not in camera, to cut the live stream. My reasons being because I want to create a safe space where people can ask questions, and I feel that even a most innocent of question can be taken by someone from a political body and paraded online as someone who doesn't believe or is skeptical. I just want to create a place where people can ask and talk and discuss without fear of their name being smeared online. And I don't want everyone in the room to be clear. I just think cutting the live stream is enough.
Thank you. And we've had that situation in the past where, there's a couple options. You could go in camera, which would mean everyone not a part of the Assembly would need to, or that part of the business would need to leave. But we've done this in other instances, and I believe it was one of the recent virtual MNGAs where we went off the live stream for a period of time. So thank you for that motion. Do we have a seconder for that motion? I see President Shepherd.
Yeah, I second turning off the live stream for this conversation. Thank you.
What I'll do is I'll see if we have, if there's any objection to that.
Sorry, Mark DeBoer, Tourist Métis. I'm just wondering if this whole conversation is better suited for the Q&A session after the MNGA. So I believe that would solve your camera issue as well as creating a less formal environment within the MNGA.
I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think the intention and the motion that's on the floor and that's been agreed to now by unanimous consent is to have this conversation specific on this, and then that would allow us time for a more general Q&A. And I'm not sure, this would certainly be up to the will of the Assembly if they wish to have that portion off the live stream or not, but there may be maybe a way for the communities and other people watching to hear those answers that they may wish, whereas the motion that we have moved and seconded for the cutting the live stream for this specific topic has been desired, or at least an expression of desire to do that. So is there any objection to going or removing the live stream?
Yeah, I definitely object. I think this conversation impacts the entire nation outside of British Columbia. It impacts every single Métis. So I believe that as leaders, what we do say should encompass our entire community. And I believe that it should be live streamed.
All right, thank you. So then we'll go to a vote on whether or not to go in the to cut the live stream for this portion of the conversation. Just a moment, I'll see how we were going to want to do that.
Okay.
We'll ask if those in favor of, Dean, sorry, yes, did you wish to?
Yeah, I think this is a very important vote because as the Minister of Rights, this does just impact us. This impacts every Métis person out there as well. And I don't want to sit here and just us decide for our nation what we're doing. That's wrong. We need to decide it as a people. Every citizen is important, and even on the live stream, even like they were here. So that means these individuals need to go if we're going to go into that side of it. Because these individuals are equal to the live stream that are out there, that are on the outside of the circle, I mean that. So I totally object to this. We need to stay live stream because this is our rights, and we need to face this head on and not be shy about it. So thank you.
Thank you. So discussion on the issue of cutting off the live stream. Chairperson Diego.
Sure, thanks very much. You know, I think it's a long time coming. You know, it's a family discussion. Our relatives are all across the country, including in Ontario as well. You know, it's just where we're at now. I think it's okay to have those conversations because it's going to decide where we need to go. And I love the honesty, and you know, I think our citizens want us to have these conversations, but they also want to know what we're thinking and, you know, our path going forward. I think that's the most important thing of any discussion that we might have in or out of camera, is where do we want to be? And that's including all of our people. But what does that look like? Let's all come to a decision of the agreement that we made with our citizenship and the oath that we all take. So I'm for just keeping it going.
Thank you. I've got President Allard, because I know he had indicated earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, hi, David Allard, Salmon Métis Association. Regardless of which way this plays out, I would recommend that whoever has strong thoughts or positions to share, that they keep in mind that they have the option to have their to have that reflected in the record of the minutes if they choose to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. President Keith?
I also would like the Assembly to keep in mind, I had some specific questions about how the fight for our rights in BC is going to unfold and what our legal strategy is here in BC. And if we might have to, again, even now I hesitate to talk about it because I don't want to talk legal strategy online and what arguments we're going to have to make and if they're similar to what's going on in Ontario. I'm not sure. I'd just like the privacy to be able to ask those questions because I don't know if they're sensitive or not, and I'd rather be safe than sorry. That's less of a political thing and more of a legal thing. I don't want, again, I'm not sure. I don't want government officials looking and saying, well, look, they're talking about doing this strategy or arguing this way. I mean, I heard today from a member of the registry that there was Métis in the Kootenays. Is that going to send people into a frenzy? Like, oh my gosh, they're pulling the homeland map. I'm not sure. I don't want anyone to take what I'm saying out of context. I just want to have my thoughts and throw things out there without being attacked or being put into a box. And sorry, that's just my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you. President Minot?
I'm a little bit torn on this one because of the fact that I understand we want to protect some of the views of certain individuals in the room getting out there in the public eye because of the scrutiny and the political atmosphere right now. The political atmosphere right now out there in some cases is very violent. I've endured some of that since I've been elected as president. And I understand the importance of making sure that all our citizens that are included in our conversations and know exactly what we're discussing on their behalf, especially at this forum. I regrettably have to state that I've endured some of them violences. I've had 11 death threats since I've been president. Over certain issues, I've had to change my phone number. I had to get rid of one of my phones, my personal phone, because of some of the discussions that I've seen online, some of the decisions that we've made as a nation, and some of my own political views. So I understand the importance of protecting each and every individual in this room. One threat is too many. I got to protect my family as well. My kids, my wife, my grandchildren. I can't have them enduring what I've endured in the last so many months over the political atmosphere. And the political atmosphere out there is very violent right now. There's a lot of people out there that don't like what other political views that other people have. Has nothing to do with that person in most cases. It's the political view that they do have. And the conversation we are going to have will be set, I understand, strictly around this resolution. I really don't want to get into a conversation in regards to our rights and what we're doing and moving for the future, because some of those issues we have with our rights right now we can't put out in public until we've dealt with them internally to assure that our ability to obtain our Section 35 rights here in British Columbia aren't hindered by other groups, other special interest groups, other nations. I definitely don't want to put that in the public eye at this time until we're ready for it, until we're ready to make that public announcement of where we're at with our Section 35 rights. So I would really like the conversation to be strictly around this resolution that's just been pulled on the issues of Ontario and how we feel and why MNBC had made a statement not to recognize that report. So I'm sort of thinking, I do understand President Keith's request for safety, to be able to speak safely in this forum without having to be ridiculed in public. So I urge everybody to think about that before we make this vote, as I don't like keeping information from our people. But the political atmosphere out there, guys, is violent. Like I said, I've had 11 death threats to myself. That's why my number has been changed. And I'm probably going to vote in favor of shutting off the live feed, just for the protection of any individual in this room, to be able to make their point clear without being ridiculed online and threatened because of their views. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Gladue.
Also, it's unfortunate what happened to my cousin Walter. We've been very aware of what's going on. This particular resolution, and I'm not going to say it, I'm not going to assume, but could have some effects of why we did what we did and why this person wants to turn it back. Because some people do get upset that their Métis citizenship was rejected. And then they take it on our leaders. They take it out on our leader. And then Walter is our leader. He's the head of the nation right now. So those individuals come after him. These rights, as the Minister of Rights, I've been to the United Nations, where even there, I've been faced with other people in our country telling us we have no rights. The World Forum. So when you put my name out there as Minister of Rights, I do get attacked as well. This is real stuff, people. This is not just a school club or a group. This is a nation, and we are a threat to many people. So I disagree that this has to stay online, because at the end of the day, if we cannot say things, because then the perception is we're covering up things. And I do not want that. And yes, we can get into the nitty-gritty. This is why we have legal counsel over here. We've hired legal counsel to tell us what we can and cannot talk about. And if somebody brings something up, all we have to say is no comment. We cannot discuss it, and leave it at that. Because what we lay on the line, there's a lot at stake that's coming in our nation. And I'll tell you, this is the very reason why I got involved with politics. Because I knew you needed I'm a strong individual that sits face to face with government, with Liberal MPs that say we have no rights. And I have to say, we have rights, and we are here. And then without feeling that my life gets threatened by the outside government. So there you go. So at the end of the day, this cannot go offline. It has to stay, because if not, then everybody at the back should not be here, because we have individuals at the back who are not even Métis members and within our nation. We got to keep it internally. That's a whole different game. So where we're going into here, I'm telling you, it's serious waters. And I have my serious views about this too, because I will protect my nation from pretensions and those that want. I have a view. I have my own personal view, and we went to war with it. And trust me, I will stand my ground for my nation. Just this morning, I had a serious discussion and a threat about us and our people. So I'm saying this is real stuff, pal. Welcome to our world. And when people bring things up, you better be prepared to hear some answers and not hide anything. So totally disagree. This has to stay online.
Thank you. I'll have one last speaker, and then we'll move to the vote on whether or not to cut the live stream for this portion. I've got President Shepherd.
Yeah, Lisa Shepherd, Golden Ears Métis Society. I just want to really ground this conversation for a moment, that the intention behind cutting the live stream is certainly not to keep information from our citizens. I want to be very clear on that. It's not to keep information from our citizens. We're not voting on a resolution. So if we were voting on a resolution, I feel it would be really wrong to cut a live stream, obviously. What we're doing is we're empowering the people around this table who are leaders of our communities to be able to openly ask questions, because not everybody comes to the table with the same amount of knowledge. And we want to be able to ask questions. And while it is very concerning what President Manolt and Minister Gladue have shared, honestly, for me, that makes it even more so why I would like to have the live stream cut, so that we can feel comfortable asking the questions that we want to ask. To me, it's a lot different than saying that we have to clear the room, because we can see who's here in the room. That is a lot more comfortable, knowing, who you're talking to or who you're talking amongst. And so I just want to just make sure that that's understood. Nobody's trying to hold anything from our citizens. And when it comes to making decisions and having that conversation, then absolutely that's something that's for all of the citizens. But right now, we just want to be able to ask questions. And my fear is that with the live stream going, there may be people who sit and don't ask those questions because they're uncomfortable with it. Thank you.
Thank you. So we are going to move to the roll call. I had mentioned President Shepherd Bear last move. So this is on whether or not to cut the live stream. Sorry?
Phones get cut too?
No, again, it's not, we're not going in camera. We're not going in camera. Like that wasn't the motion. It's like what we've done in the past, so and I think President Shepherd mentioned, the difference is you can see people, whereas it's a live stream, it's across the world. Anyone, anywhere can observe. And I think that was the intention from President Keith, and I think reiterated by our seconder, President Shepherd. So we will go by roll
Just
call.
before Tony Goulet, North Carolina, I'm just confused, so we're just voting on whether we cut the live stream,
That's
right?
correct.
Not going into in-camera or
No,
any
no.
other, there wasn't about the people behind us.
That's
It's
correct.
just cutting the live stream. I
That's
just want to be
correct.
clear on what I'm voting on, just to,
Yes.
to make it clear for me,
Yes.
so I know what we're doing.
The roll
Okay,
call
thank you.
vote is whether you are in favor of cutting the live stream during this portion of the discussion. So I'll turn it over to Judith for the live stream, for the roll call, the vote on whether or not to cut the live stream. If you are in favor, vote yes. If you're opposed, abstain or vote no, and you can abstain if you wish.
So we're going to proceed with a roll call vote. We will need a majority vote for this to pass. Katie Aldred.
In favor.
David Allard.
Abstain.
Melanie Allard.
In favor.
Rob Anderson.
Abstain.
Kyle Belcourt Ledoux.
In favor.
Danielle Bergevin.
Sorry, I was conferring with my BC. We would like to keep the live stream up. I believe that is in favor. I'm opposed. Oh, okay. Sorry, thank you.
Caitlin Bird.
Abstain.
Joy Bremner.
In favor.
Zeb Brewer.
Opposed.
Ron Karen.
In favor.
Carmen Carrier.
In favor.
Bernadette Chamboyer.
In favor.
Alana Copeland.
Approved.
Nicole Corson.
In favor.
Jeff Crozier.
Opposed to cutting the live stream. Thank you.
Thank you. Louis DeJager.
Opposed.
Betty Deck.
In favor.
Cheryl Dodman.
In favor.
Mark DeBoard.
Opposed.
Deborah Fisher.
In favor.
Paulette Flamond.
Opposed.
Lee Frazier.
In favor.
Rainey Gervais.
In favor.
Dean Gladue.
Opposed?
Feb Goulet.
In favor.
Tony Goulet.
No.
Okay. June Graham.
I'm going to abstain because I have strong feelings for both sides.
No worries. Thank you. Patrick Harriott.
Exactly what June said.
Thank you. Susie Hooper.
In favor.
Brenda House.
Opposed.
Zelda Hunt.
In favor.
Travis Jobin.
Opposed.
Jamie Keith.
In favor.
Alan Lavalle.
In favor.
Thank you. Rick Lewis.
Recognizing that minutes are still taken, I'm opposed.
Thank you. Tyler Massey.
Opposed.
Betty Ann McDonald.
I'm also torn, so I'll abstain.
Walter Minot.
I'm torn on this, so this is probably the first time I'll ever do this, but I'll abstain.
Thank you. Vanessa Mueller.
I have very strong feelings as well. I feel like if we're not clearing the gallery as well, we're just allowing the citizens who aren't able or privileged to be here in person, we're just closing it off to them. So, and I also respect anyone whose feelings that they need to feel safe in this space. I abstain.
Thank you. Brianna Peltier?
Abstain.
Chris Semple?
Oppose.
Merce Servatius?
Opposed.
Lisa Shepard?
Agree.
Natasha Smith?
Abstain.
Tom Spence?
Opposed.
Joyce Sundin?
Abstain.
Marlene Swears?
Opposed.
Heather Weaver?
Opposed.
And Anthony Wingham?
Oppose.
Thank you. The motion to cut the live stream passes by votes of 20 in favor, 18 opposed with 11 abstentions. So what I'll, for just a moment, if I can ask the staff if we can cut and just confirm once the live stream is no longer working. And Chairperson Carrier, did you?
You abstain. It's actually a yes vote considered if you really, really look at it under the Robert's Rules of Order. I'd like to get clarification on that. So if you abstain, it means that you're in favor. You just don't know what your opinion is. I'm just clarifying because I've read that somewhere as well, that an abstention means that you're actually in favor. So it would have been in favor. They are
Sorry,
right.
I'm going to call point order. Mr. Galea, or President Galea, I'm sorry, that's not correct, and certainly it is with the perhaps with regular rules of order, but through the legislative changes that we've done over the years, the MNGA Act has, and including Appendix A, which you can find at page 97, with regards to, now I agree that's changes to legislation or introduction of new legislation, but votes were, the decision was to create essentially a yes was in favor, no was opposed, and an abstain counts as a no vote. Is no vote, so it's not included in the total. So in this case, we have a majority of 20 to 18 essentially. So what we'll do then, yes, can cut the stream now. And once that's cut, I know President I can have everyone take their seats, please. The longer it takes for us to get started, the less time you have for Q&A with your board. If everyone could take their seats, please.
All right, folks, we're getting started. If folks could grab their seats.
Oh, Anthony's ready.
We're going to go in reverse alphabetical order to keep it interesting. Anthony Wingham.
Present.
Heather Weaver.
Present.
Marlene Swears.
Here.
Joy Sundin. President Sundin? Oh, I see you. Thank you.
She's present.
Tom Spence.
Here.
Natasha Smith. I think she's still getting back. Lisa Shepard.
Uta.
Merce Servatius.
Here.
Chris Semple.
Present.
Brianna Peltier.
Here.
Vanessa Mueller.
Present.
Walter Minot.
Here.
Betty Ann McDonald.
Present. Important.
Tyler Massey.
Present.
Richard Lewis. Oh, I don't see. We'll circle back to Mr. President Lewis. Alan Lavalle.
Here.
Jamie Keith.
Right here.
Travis Jobin.
Present.
Zelda Hunt. We'll circle back to Vice President Hunt. Brenda House.
Here.
Susie Hooper. Patrick Harriet.
Present.
June Graham. Tony Goulet.
He's gone to the airport.
Thank you. Feb Goulet. Dean Gladue.
Present.
Rainey Gervais.
Here.
Thank you. Lee Fraser.
Present.
Paulette Flamand. Director Flamand. Deborah Fisher. Present. Mark DeBoard.
Present.
Cheryl Dodman.
Tanshe.
Betty Deck.
Present.
Louis DeJagger.
Present.
Jeff Crozier.
Present.
Nicole Corson.
Present.
Alana Copeland. Not yet. Bernadette Chamboyer.
I'm here.
Carmen Carrier.
Present.
Ron Karen.
Present.
Zev Brewer.
Present.
Joy Bremner.
Present.
Caitlin Bird. Thank you. Danielle Bergevin?
Present.
Kyle Belko-Gladieu?
Present.
Rob Anderson?
Here.
Melanie Allard?
Present.
David Allard?
Here.
And Katie Aldred?
Present.
Thank you. Feb Goulet, you here? Yes. Thank you. Richard Lewis?
Present.
Thank you. Do we have Zelda Hunt back? She's right there. Oh, hi Zelda. Do we have Natasha Smith? I'm going to take that as a no.
Her bag's here, so she'll be here.
And do we have Paulette Flamand back? Do we have Alana Copeland back? Okay. Caitlin? No, okay. All right, we have a quorum of 42.
All right, welcome back everybody. We're going to move into our Q&A. My safety net is standing over there, so please be patient with me. I do want to just make sure that we know that we have a hard end today at 11:45, which means we have just shy of 45 minutes for our Q&A. So I will ask if there's anybody who would like to speak. Anthony, President Wingham, go ahead.
These are questions for the board, correct? This is for Minister Harriet. In your treasurer report, I was just wondering, can you explain what is social investment by region? And if you're able to break down the 16.3 million that was spent in the Lower Mainland? Thank you.
Minister Harriet, go ahead.
For that breakdown, I would actually ask our CFO, who has all that information that can be provided for you.
Wonderful.
Short answer is we can't tell you. No.
That's how rumors start, Walter.
Thank you. So the social investment by region would be all of our subsidy programs, our STEPS program, all of the supports that we offer, through education, through housing. It's all of our social sector supports and subsidies. So in terms of what was spent in the Lower Mainland, that would probably be primarily related to the STEPS funding and just the sheer number of citizens. So I don't have the detailed amount that makes up the 16, but I can just tell you that that is what is included in those numbers.
Just a follow-up question. Would there be an opportunity to get the detailed breakdown of the 16.3?
Absolutely. My team has it. I just don't have it with me in front. Yep.
Thank you very much. President Allard.
Yeah, hi. So in the decision, the Senate decision that's posted online, there's an opinion of the senators that states that 2 individuals should be prohibited from holding any office in MNBC or its concordant bodies. Is this where do you stand on that? And would the MNGA play a role on this? Just curious about your thoughts about this. Thank you.
Our stance on that right now, within our Senate, I guess, regulations and everything, there's nothing written solidly that gives any of our governing bodies the authority to action. These are recommendations that are made by the Senate, but for everybody's information, I myself as president, and I believe the majority or all of our board of directors, we fully support our Senate. We feel that is one of our major jurisdictional bodies. And to build on that, we need to be able to put our full support behind them and to be able to, I know Patrick, our Justice Minister, doesn't like the word reform, but we are going to work on some Senate reform and to be able to give the actual Senate a little more authority on when they make rulings in regards to different issues throughout our nation for them to be actioned. Those always come back to our MNGA, those decisions like those policies. They will also come back to our AGM for approval. So decisions on that will never be put just in the hands of our board of directors. We always make, when we're changing our laws, when we're changing our regulations, we're changing our Constitution, we always include our MNGA, our leadership, our citizens, on how we can bring those into fruition and make them part of our nation, make those decisions part of our nation. So yes, we will definitely be consulting with this body and hopefully verifying everything through an AGM. I'm right on that, eh, Patrick, the way that that's going to be set out?
Yeah, I was going to speak next if I could. So we now have, okay, so our Métis Justice Strategy has been passed by the BC government. We now have more than one person as part of our justice ministry. And while there's an enormous amount of work that we want to do provincially when it comes to, our interactions with the justice system, we also need to strengthen our own Métis justice system. For the last 20 years, it's just been the Senate. And we really need, as you know, President Allard, at the MNGA Governance Committee, we talked about dispute resolution. And we need to have different mechanisms for de-escalation, for mediation, for dispute resolution, restorative justice, because the Senate is really there as an appeal body, and really we need to build out how we resolve our differences. So I know that there were some recommendations about it perhaps coming to the MNGA. I see this as not the right place for some kind of sentencing body. Like this is really about legislation and some of those discussions about direction. I don't think this would be the appropriate place. But we absolutely are building out our Métis justice system because it is necessary, because we see all of the disputes, all of the friction in our nation, in our communities. So we're committed to building out that dispute resolution system and strengthening and supporting the work of the Senate, but we need other mechanisms to do this.
Thank you, President Minot and Director Harriet. Very thoughtful responses here. I would hope that these processes may be done separately from the consideration of the opinion, so there's not undue time spent with this hanging over the heads of two individuals, which I would consider to be unfair. If there needs to be a clear process developed, which may take 6 months or a year or more, and we have this opinion that's there, I think that has to be addressed there. But thank you for your thoughtful responses.
Thank you. President Swears.
Can you hear me? I want to agree with you, and I'm speaking on behalf of Tony Goulet. He wanted to ask a question about the report and what was the breakdown in Region 5, and if we are also to be able to have a breakdown of what has been spent in our region and to why, because that's what the question he wanted to ask, if that's okay. So.
Well, I'm happy to speak on behalf of our Chief Financial Officer, who's hopefully listening right behind you. If our Chief Financial Officer could also send that to the presidents in Region 5.
Thank you very much. President Bremner.
I was recently at Mikiseew's AGM, and there was a very pleasant staff person from MNBC there, and actually taking the minutes and had been working with them in terms of their bylaws. My question is, what are we able to ask of MNBC? It was shocking to a number of us that came that to witness that AGM, just that was even a possibility. And so we're very unaware of what we could request for assistance from MNBC. And so there's that question. And then another very specific one is, I know in the past, I used to be at AGMs, when the veterans were doing security. If somebody was at the mic or whatever and misbehaving, the veterans would walk them out. And that was done culturally, so much respect was given to those vets that there was never an issue when they actually moved to do that and remove somebody or have them sit down. And so, again, whether that is still a possibility, but what other asks are possible for us for assistance right in our community from MNBC? I might want a list.
Just to clarify what I have a hard time hearing some of what you were saying there, but what you're asking, if I'm clear on this, is what kind of information can you get out of our assistants that come in and help you to chair your meetings and to take notes and everything? Are we asking what kind of information can you get from the staff that come in, or I was sorry it wasn't clear on that.
Okay, and it is just really around what can we ask for assistance? Like if we have specific requests like that, taking minutes at an AGM. So we have official minutes because very often, our secretaries, might not be able to actually put down everything that's important. So if we have somebody that's able to record and do good minutes, and then even assistance with redoing our bylaws. Those were 2 examples that were taking place there. But what else might be available to us? It's just an unknown for me and many of us that we could even do that.
Director Harriet.
Yeah, thank you for that question. And I'm glad you mentioned a list. So the MNGA Governance Committee has been working on new charter agreements. And part of the work that we're doing is looking at what supports do communities need. Because we're moving away from a one-size-fits-all. So we actually have, or we're developing, a list of options, like what supports do communities need? Do they need help with their AGM, to chair it, to take minutes, to send out notices? Do they need help with financial policies or those kind of things? So we're still in the preliminary stages of what we can offer, and I don't want to over-offer because I haven't taken it through the CEO or those kind of things yet. But the idea is to not have a one-size-fits-all, and we do have a governance team, and we do have, as many know, Tyler Thompson, our external finance person, to help communities with financial matters. So we're absolutely developing sort of a list, a menu of options.
So it's possible then if something does pop up, we can simply, and obviously we could go through Addison to see who to ask. If we have asks, that there are needs that we have, just to see if there is some assistance through MNBC for that, rather than us having to reach outside and pay for it, right, which is very costly, and most communities don't have the money to do that.
So what we can do so that you're not having to reach out and ask if we have a service, I am committing to put together a list of options from what our governance team can offer to our finance support to the IT support that we're offering. And so we'll put that together so that you have that menu to select from based on what your needs are, and we'll make sure that that's put together and sent out in short order.
And then as the vets are sitting here, perhaps one of them may have an answer in regards to when they used to use veterans for that purpose at large meetings. I remember one of our old men in our communities was a vet, and watching him walk up to do that, and the respect that was given by the speaker at the mic was immense, and they immediately did cease doing what they were doing, which was very objectionable to the whole meeting, right? So I'm still wondering if in that sense, it's an aspect of security, but done culturally and building the respect for which our veterans deserve. Are they still able to do that if we requested that? Nobody wants to answer. Sorry. Veterans, oh, okay. Okay. So for instance, Region 1, we have a number of vets all sitting right there. So you know who I'm calling. Thank you.
Just on that note, though, I recommend when each community do have AGMs or gatherings to invite your regional director, as well as you stated, maybe if we have a veteran in the area to be able to attend, but maybe send an invite. And when it comes to some of the travel in some of those areas, I'm sure MNBC will work out some sort of support for our veterans to be at some of those events to be able to support your communities. But we are also planning, like I've stated before, we are planning to do a lot more communications out to the communities. I'm planning to come out to each and every one of the communities I can make it to in the next couple of years, as well as I know Colette's got some of her team, our team going out to some of the communities just to get information from each of the communities, find out what they would like to see happening in their communities, find out what kind of support that we can supply, to just try to get that line of communication going, get that that personal feeling of getting to know your leaders, getting to know your government, just to gather together, have a meal, feed each other information. And this is where we're going to find out a lot of the issues that are having in each and every community, because each community is different, just like each region is different. So we just want to be able to find that information out and try to support each one of our communities the best we possibly can. And I believe that's one way of doing it, is communication, being out there, seeing the people, talking to them, and trying to find out, what are the issues that they're dealing with all the time. Thanks for that, Joy.
And I do believe that, very often many communities have acted very independently of MNBC because we are nonprofits. And I think a part of building the provincial body of Métis, it's important that we do start to work together and share more openly with MNBC what is going on in our communities, and then making sure that we're able to take information back to our members regarding what's happening on their behalf by MNBC. But thank you.
Chairperson Carrier.
I also just wanted to add on to what Walter had said, and if you're having an AGM, please also don't forget about your regional 2S, youth, and women's rep too, please. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go to President Aldred.
This is just going back to what President Allard said, and I'd like to recognize that our board of directors realizes that we do have a need for a judicial arm in our nation, and that they are working diligently on doing that. Thank you very much. As somebody who was involved with that Senate decision involving those two people, I will say that none of you at this table were not privy to what was going on in that community, what I faced, and the fact that I missed out on 2 years of being able to come out into community and having my children miss out. We face enough prejudice. We face enough obstacles every single day in fighting for our rights. I will be damned if I have to do that at a community level with my own kin. The whole purpose for this is to fight for our children and our next generation. And my kids missed out on 2 years of that. So some will argue that while some of you feel that the Senate's decision is too harsh, some will argue that that Senate decision is too lenient. And I'll leave it at that.
Thank you. Is there anybody on the board who wants to respond? Yeah? No? Okay. Thank you, President Aldred. We'll move on to President Lewis.
Thank you, Co-Chair. Just an update, I think this is the right place, with the Governance Committee review of the resolution to bring back, or not to bring back, but regarding veteran citizenship for out-of-province members of the forces and the RCMP. I'm just wondering if we can have a bit of an update. I know it's been in the works, and like fine wine, it takes a long time to get it right, and I want to make sure it is right. So I'm just wondering if there is a bit of an update.
So I can speak to this briefly, and this is a very timely question. From what I recall at the April MNGA Governance Committee meeting, it was brought up, and the committee is looking at it. There is a tentative timeline that the clerk of the MNGA so happens to be working on for the committee to present. So there will be updates, and it is currently being worked on. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go to President Graham.
Hi, just a question of, I'm doing the vendors again this year at our rendezvous, and I haven't heard from any MNBC people if they're requiring a table. And as well, to double check, are you advertising our event?
Well, it's funny you should say that.
That builds my confidence.
So I know I committed to our organizing committee that if I was sent the poster, which I think we're waiting for the right poster, that I would make sure that communications would get out that notice. So I'm absolutely committed to making sure that MNBC communicates that to all of our citizens, and I'll invite everyone. And I see the comms mark is big thumbs up there, so that is a visual sign that yes, we are committed to sending that out. And I'll take the opportunity to invite everyone August 16th to the Vancouver Island Métis Rendezvous, located again at the Cowichan Exhibition Park. And as far as tables go, and there's a big thumbs up again.
Okay, so what was I going to say? So I need to know how many tables as soon as possible from MNBC. And the other thing was on our Facebook pages, all the posters, fill your boots, copy them, and please advertise them. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go to President Keith.
Yes, I'm not sure who my question should be directed to, but I am uncomfortable with some of the decisions the Senate has come out with, not the decisions necessarily, but the lack of evidence. I believe that if you're going to say someone financially mismanaged, you should attach evidence or give examples of that. It's not that I don't trust the Senate, but that's how, and I hate to point to Western Court as an example because that's not us, but normally when people make decisions, they have evidence to back that up or they have a reasoning behind what their conclusion is. And I'm wondering, why the Senate doesn't attach evidence so it doesn't look like it's slander, and that there's a proper explanation, and it's not just, well, you have to trust us and you're not privy to that information. If these are public decisions that are being posted online, well, then there should be some sort of evidence or some sort of say in the reasoning as to specifically why they've come to that decision, again, so that it protects the nation from claims of slander. And I'm wondering why they're not able to put that evidence in, and it's masquerading as privacy. On record, I support Pixie. Thank you.
Well, speaking on behalf, I don't know if I could or not, but on behalf of our Senate, again, I will reinstate that I have the utmost confidence in our Senate. We have the utmost respect in our Senate and our process, and we will continue to support them as we go further. The Senate decisions that were made, yes, some of them are private. They cannot be put out in public statements, to not just to protect the people that are reporting these issues, but also to protect the people that are involved. Our Senate decisions, in my mind, I would love to see them binding one day. I think our Senate is one of the most important bodies of our government, and I will continue to support the Senate as we go further. I don't believe that they were out of their boundaries on any of the issues that were put forward to them, and the decisions that they make, not just myself, but I'm almost sure that our whole board of directors will support our Senate going forward and continue to support them. So I believe that they've made some great decisions in the past. The big thing is we're growing. We're growing substantially. Our Senate has never been utilized as much as they have in the last couple of years. Because of the fact that we're growing so much, we're having more involvement, we're including more of our communities, our citizens, and a lot of the decisions that we make at this level. We are also supporting our communities a lot more. We're trying to support them with the capacity that they need, and we're way behind on that. We still can't support our communities with the full capacity that they need to keep going. But we are working hard to ensure that that is going to happen in the future. So with that support and with all those voices and eyes on each and every one of us, we have more controversies because everybody has different opinions. And we have to respect those opinions right across the board, regardless of how they feel politically. They're still our citizens, they're still our people. We have to respect and honor each and every one of them. We will never silence somebody's voice. No matter what happens with our government, as long as you're a Métis citizen in British Columbia, you have a space at the mic to voice your opinion and how you feel. And it is going to be respected by this government, as well as we should be respecting our Senate and our decision. We were the one who put them in place. This body was the one who put the Senate in place to grow our nation. And I will always support our Senate going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go to Leader MacDonald.
Sorry, I didn't think it would be that quick. I just have a question. I sit on Indigenous court and we never interpret law. That's done for us. And so my question is, when the Senate is making a decision, is there actually a lawyer involved too that says we'd be safe with that? Or do we set ourselves up for another huge lawsuit that will cost buckets of money? I'd rather have it in my community than paying lawyers. So I just have always wondered, is there a legal opinion shared? Marcy.
On that note, yes, they do have counsel that they refer to. And just to make clear, we don't speak on behalf of our Senate. Our Senate's a separate entity. They are non-political. And they have to be that way to be able to make their decisions that they do make. That's why when we do bring them into meetings, they come in, they do a prayer, they leave. They can't be perceived to favor any political body one way or another, and they never have. That's why our Senate is built the way it is, to protect not just them, but to protect our jurisdictional system that we have in place. So we do not speak on behalf of our Senate. We do support them, but our Senate makes their own decisions, and we will honor them. Thank you.
Thank you. President Crozier.
Hi, thanks. I was just wondering if we could circle back to President Keith's question. I don't feel, and I could be mistaken, I could have missed something, but I don't feel that her question was answered sufficiently. I think her question was, can the Senate not attach evidence to their rulings? That in a nutshell, and I don't believe that that was answered. So if that question could be answered, that'd be amazing. Yeah, thanks.
I understand that would be a situation I think the Senate would have to deal with, whether those that information can be put up there publicly, and that's what they would. That's why they have legal counsel working with them. When there is stuff that is confidential and names and stuff are being issued for some of the people involved for protection, some of that information will never be put out in public. This is a call for our Senate and their legal system to make that assertion. And I see we got Dave up here, and hopefully maybe he can help us with that.
So what I'm going to say, and just hear it, and I think the question coming out was important, but after some consideration, maybe out of order insofar as the board, the Senate and the board are separate, and we're at a Q&A for the board. We don't have, for example, Mr. Bresser, who's the Senate clerk, or any of the Senate staff or individuals that would be able to speak to that. And I'm not going to put words in their mouths, but because, as it was pointed out, they're non-political, that might be an operational kind of thing of what they do, but and feedback on that. But as an example, as President Keith mentioned, in the legal kind of system, the Western legal system, I cannot think of an instance where, for example, members of the public or politicians are even able to, they might be able to ask those questions or put those questions out there to judges, for example. But the judges are not required to provide reasons for their reasons, if I can put it that way, and part of it is the judicial independence principle. So I appreciate the question, and I think it's unfair to the Senate because they're not in a position to provide that. If we had perhaps Mr. Bresser, who might be able to answer some of those questions, then again, might. But I think given this is the board Q&A, now certainly I think what would be valid is, the position of the board on a particular decision or something along those lines, but not the nuts and bolts of the decision and how it might come out. That would be my ruling.
No, 100%, I grab that. Thank you so much for that clarification and point of order as well.
Melanie Allard, Vice President, Métis Nation, BC, Thompson, Okanagan, Two Rivers citizen. It's a very important part for our Senate, and that I would ask that we ask the Senate to have a session so people can understand and find out how our system is working. We are working on reforming, and we don't want to use the word reforming, but we are looking at a way to, go with the judicial part with our strategy that was passed. So I would ask that possibly some of the questions that we have, that we could ask for a session with them.
Thank you very much. President Dubois.
Mark DeBoer, Two Rivers. I just kind of got two things here. One, I was wondering if next time we can kind of have the names of the order on the board so we can kind of
not chomping at the bit, hoping we're going next. And then the other piece is, look, I think personal connection is so important, you know, especially for children, but also kind of for adults. And, you know, I was very fortunate enough when I became president all those, you know, how many years ago, whatever, that I timed it with an executive tour. So basically I got to meet Colette one-on-one, I got to meet Brett one-on-one, Brent one-on-one, and it was, you know, right here, they're great, but they're also being pulled in a million directions. And so I was just gonna encourage the board to, and I know like money is an issue and more importantly time, but I just think that was a really great foundation to be able to meet those people one-on-one, pick up their energies, understand them, and I just kind of encourage that to happen again.
Thank you for that. It is a little difficult for us to put the speaker list up just because it remixes depending on how often people have spoken. I have 3 speakers on the list right now. We'll go to President Swears.
Hi. Maybe this is the wrong time to ask yous because everybody's up in arms and a tither, but I would like to also extend an invitation to everyone for our 30th annual Jamboree in August 8th, 9th, and 10th. And on June 22nd, Heather from New Caledonia, they're putting on a function. And so that's why I say we're all up in arms, but right now I'd like to extend some fun stuff, some relaxation, and get to chat and just be welcome.
Thanks for that. I just want to state that we got our CEO in the room, and that maybe we can make sure that we advertise these events on our website as much as we possibly can, really push them out there so as many citizens see them on behalf of these 2 communities, while the Island Rendezvous and as well as Region 5's. I can't remember what you guys have been calling it every year, President Swears?
It's just the Métis Jamboree. It's hosted, but it is a non-political event. So anybody who talks politics gets thrown in the lake.
Yeah, right on. Awesome.
And she's New Caledonia from Vanderhoof. They have their annual.
Ours will be held up in Fort St. James this year on June 22nd. Everyone welcome.
President Swears, I've just had a request for you to repeat the dates for that event.
Second weekend in August, 8th, 9th, and 10th weekend. So it starts on a Thursday if you bring in your camper, and we all pack up with the Sunday singing, and it's done.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, we will go to President Aldred.
Katie Aldred, President, Fraser Valley Métis Association. Just going back to what Jamie said, you know, I recognize that a lot of you people are friends with Pixie Wells. The decision to go to Senate was never made lightly. It was not something that we anticipated, but felt that it was necessary. Things like mismanagement of funds is not thrown around lightly, and I would be happy to speak to any one of you about what happened from my point of view. But when you're not following the bylaws that were put in place by your community citizens, when you, for better lack of words, go rogue and start deciding on your own what is best for your community, I feel like anybody who has a moral sense of what's right and wrong would do the exact same thing, put in the position that I found myself. And to put it quite plainly, the only thing that I had in mind was to hold my leadership accountable for the behavior and actions that they were showing to the rest of the society. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Gladue, did you want to respond?
Yeah, I think this is a good time to, because I too heard a president state, like, this should have never been names. Names should have never been forward here. We should be talking in a neutral place of professionalism, no matter how. Remember, in the justice world, there's always two sides to every story. There's the truth in the middle. But for somebody, the president, to say, in the end, I support Pixie, and then hang up, that was wrong.
I'm gonna interrupt here.
And I'm gonna say it, but that's what was said. And that was wrong in that way, and it's time to stop being Mr. Nice Guy here. So
Thank you. I'm going to stop it, and I was on the line with the last speaker as well. We want to make sure, again, the topic that we have is the Q&A, and I know some things were raised, but that this is the opportunity for MNGA members to ask questions of the board. But I do have, sorry, just a moment. Yes. I think we might have one or two speakers. We have only 3 more minutes. So we have 1 speaker left. We'll turn to that final speaker and then the response from the board member to whomever that question is directed. And then we'll conclude and some final remarks before we have our senator come in for the closing prayer.
Thank you. We'll go to Leader McDonough.
This is just a comment again and an offer. I'd like us as we go to all keep in mind and our prayers Kelly Lake. They're under evacuation alert, or they may have been evacuated by now. And so my prayers go out to them, but also we're heading into fire season. And it could be crazy again. And I just want to say and offer that if anybody just wants some support by phone or thoughts or whatever, I'm more than happy to support anyone. So I wish us all well during the fire season.
Thank you. We do have time for one more speaker, so we'll pass to President Shepherd.
Thank you for that. This isn't directly about what you asked us not to talk about. But it's important for us to understand, though, because it impacts all of our communities, I think. I think the question that I have is there a clear line of when MNBC has responsibility for MNBC citizens? And what I mean by that is when citizens who are part of the Golden Ears Métis Society community become members of MNBC, they walk around carrying a card saying that they are citizens of Métis Nation BC. They're not walking around carrying a card that says, I'm a citizen of Golden Ears Métis Society. And it's hard to talk about this without referring to what's happened, but it does impact all of our communities, I think. Is there a clear definition of when MNBC must step in because they have to look for the well-being of citizens of Métis Nation BC, although they are stepping into a community? I think that's what I'm wondering, because I do feel like there is a very blurred line, and as a president of a community, I sort of want to know where that is.
I'm going to turn to Director Hare because I think I know what he's going to be talking about, and it's going to be the chartered agreements, but you are going to have much more details on where we're at and how the board sees that process.
You can speak to it after if you'd like. Yes, absolutely. This is really the work that we're doing at the MNGA Governance Committee on the charter agreements, because I think a lot of the friction that we see is because of the lack of clarity. So really what we're coming to is, to borrow a term from my colleague Deborah Fisher that talks about putting the child in the middle of everything we do. Really the relationship between our communities and MNBC is about putting the citizen in the center. We're both trying to serve our citizens. So that's exactly what we're trying to get to with the renewed charter agreements is, what is that standard of care that we all commit to when it comes to, standard of governance, standard of financial accountability, that standard of care. So we're trying to really clarify whose roles are what that standard is, and how can we work together. We actually heard within the governance committee itself that there were some people that felt, oh, in this circumstance, MNBC dragged their feet, they should have come in earlier, and that wasn't good. And then others that said, man, MNBC was just like shot from the hip and just came right in, and that wasn't good. So we need to be really clear what that standard of care is, how MNBC can perhaps say, hey, looks like you're struggling a bit, can we help you? So if we can get that clarity in our partnership, I think things will go a lot better for our citizens and our relationship as a whole, as a nation.
Chairperson Jaeger.
Louis D. Jaeger, it's right on page 60 in the Constitution. And when those rights are violated or broken or threatened, that is a good time for the nation to come in and help the citizen or the community that the citizens are in to make sure that those rights are not violated. That is our Constitution. It's how we govern ourselves, and those are the laws of the nation.
Well, thank you very much. I want to thank everyone for the discussion, the information provided by the board and our staff and responding. President Graham,
I said I had my light on quite a while ago, my hand up, and I was acknowledged by the lady beside you.
Oh, she thought you had waved her back off, that you were no longer wanting to. But so then please go ahead, and then we're going to have our senator come up for the closing prayer.
Thanks, Dave. A couple thoughts. I wanted to say thank you for stopping the conversation. It didn't feel right. Second, I just want to remind our table here that if we think back in history when one of our past presidents was let go at MNBC, they had attempted to go to the High Court and overlook our Senate, and they were sent back to the Senate. So just to realize how important that is and how recognized that is in our system when we are going to go on for our own self-identity and our own rights that we are striving to get, our Senate is recognized. So that's not a light thing. And I want to also put in a note about our senator in Region 1, the integrity that he holds. And as soon as that problem started in MNBC with that one president, our senator came to us and told us, "We are out of here. I'm out of here. I won't be surfacing again until this is done. I'm sorry, I won't be available." And he kept to his word. We did not see him that whole entire time. So I just wanted to put a good word in for our Senate. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And so I'll conclude the discussion. What we'll do is we'll have our senator come give us a closing prayer. I will turn it to our president for closing remarks, and then we will go to our final vote to adjourn. So if I can have our senator take the podium for our closing prayer.
Is on? Well, I know I'm between you and being able to head home, so I promise this is under 20 minutes. So let's close our assembly with a moment of reflection and prayer. Creator of all that is seen and unseen, we give thanks for the wisdom shared, the connections strengthened, and the spirit of community that has filled our assembly. We honor our ancestors, whose resilience and vision laid the path for us, whose sacrifices and wisdom guide our steps. We ask for their continued guidance as we walk forward, carrying the traditions and values of the Métis Nation. Bless our elders, our children, our leaders, and all who work tirelessly for the betterment of our people. Grant us the courage to face challenges, the compassion to support one another, and the wisdom to make decisions that will benefit the generations to come, ensuring a strong future for our children and those yet unborn. May the spirit of the sash, symbolizing our unity and strength, bind us together. May the rhythm of the fiddle remind us of the joy and vibrancy of our culture. May the land, our mother, continue to nourish and sustain us. As we depart from this gathering, may we carry the spirit of kinship and reconciliation in our hearts, guide us safely on our journeys, and inspire us to continue building a bright and prosperous future for the Métis Nation. Marcy.
Mr. Chair, motion to adjourn.
Not accepted. We have some closing remarks briefly from our president, and then we will get to that point.
Yep. Well, it's going to be brief because I got to go to the washroom, so. What I'd like to do, first of all, is to, as I've stated before, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for being here. And this here forum that we've put together many years ago is one of the most important governing arms we have for our nation, growing our nation and bringing it forward. As we thrive, for recognition of our rights, recognition as a people here in BC, as we thrive to support our youth, our women, our two-spirited committees, as well as each and every community we have out there and our citizens. It's just been an honor working with each and every one of you. Having these conversations are so important for our growth. As we build our nation going forward, your inclusion, your voice, and that movement going forward are so important. Just so you guys all know, as I've stated in the past, this government would not be here. Our nation would not be here represented today if it wasn't for each and every one of you at this table. All our volunteers, all our elders in the past that have helped us grow. Métis Nation has been trying to build for recognition right across Canada for a couple hundred years. We're finally in a place now where the government are seeing us, where communities are seeing us, where people want to be us. These are great things going forward. We've never been in these times ever before. I've never seen so much acceptance for Aboriginal people in this country as we have today. And that is because of the dedication and the commitment of each and every one of you at this table that's helped us to get where we're at today. My hats are off to each and every one of you, and I'm looking forward to working with each and every one of you going forward to establish our rights here in BC. Again, that is one of the most important issues we'll be dealing with in the near future, is establishing our Section 35 rights and the security of our people in this province. Thank you guys so much for everything you do.
Thank you. And before I look for a mover and a seconder, I want to thank my co-speaker for her first job. I thought she did a great job, Katie Carson. I also want to thank our clerk, Nicole Ludwig, and our deputy clerk, Judith Nagy. And all the staff that have done a wonderful job keeping us going and on track. Very much appreciated. And now I will look for a mover and a seconder.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll look for a seconder. I'm seeing hands. That was the first hand I saw, the pink. Seconder is Director Fisher. I'm going to look for unanimous consent to adjourn. And there are boxed lunch next door, but any objections? Any objections? We are adjourned 4 minutes early.
There's a box lunch next door.
Well done, both of you.
4 minutes ahead of time.
4 minutes, turn your mic off. Just